Goblins, featuring the one and only Utopian Revolt. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, man, but I guess my day just got soured a little bit. You know what I just found out?
Hmm,
I've just been like browsing through Rotten Tomatoes just for the hell of it, and
that's never safe.
Forrest Gump has a 71% on 71% tomato meter score.
You know, I was just having this conversation with someone like maybe a couple days ago. I'm pretty sure in its later years it has become problematic.
Oh yeah. I guess that makes sense. I guess that makes sense. But when were most of these reviews made?
I
You
mean,
know.
now that's the next question. I don't think it was like ever super well received.
Interesting.
I
See,
could be
I
wrong.
never knew this. I thought that it was like universally loved because it's a really cool movie.
I could be wrong again. Like, although I am pretty sure it's currently problematic,
I
as
see.
most things tend to be right now.
I see. Well, I digress. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I am. A quick little diatribe, I suppose, and away from the conversation that is typically Geeks and Goblins. Briefly, all my life, um, I thought I was allergic to kiwi, as I'm allergic to most fruit.
Okay.
And, that's fine. You just kind of got to bite some bullets, right?
All right.
But I avoided kiwi my entire life. My absolute entire life. Up until recently, when HelloFresh sent us a kiwi. And I was like, you know what? Today's the day. I got to really figure this out. I got to, like, buckle down and figure out, is today the day that I expire and leave this earth? And I did not. I neither expired nor left this earth. But I did find the magic of the kiwi.
Yeah.
I'm currently now enjoying that same kiwi, not the literal same kiwi, but the same brand of kiwi. And I might die. Is really all I'm trying to say. I say all that to say I may die on stream. I understand
Amen.
that can be appealing for some people.
Do it for the ratings.
Great for ratings. Like, the show will go on without me, but like it will definitely be great.
Yeah.
It'll definitely be great.
Hey, bro, kiwis are great. I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
It's so good. It's so good. I just ran into this weird thing where like one side is like super sweet and the other side was like super bitter. And
Mm.
like I'm just having a good time. I'm having a good time with this kiwi, bro.
It works, man. It works.
Just completely random, I know. I wanted to share that with people just in case they wonder why I just keeled over and died. I did it to myself.
Jeez.
Okay? I did it myself.
Hey, man, it was worth it though. You're enjoying that kiwi. That's all that matters.
Super enjoying this kiwi. Man, now back to the topic at hand. This week wasn't like filled with bangers, but it wasn't like filled with like it wasn't filled with sleepers either. Like I think the best thing that we're gonna have to start doing, I think you recommended this, we're gonna have to just start recording our draft.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Because like
Absolutely.
it's just an entertaining process even for me, but like interesting to how we get to this place where we get to when we're gonna talk about the weekly roundup. But I'm looking at it now and I'm like, dang, we cut out some really good stuff. We even find like short concessions for other things. Like you were like, bro, we're just gonna combine this one and this one so we can talk about it at the same time. I'm like,
Oh,
yeah, I guess
man.
that works.
I think people would like to see that, especially since we got that veto system. It sometimes gets competitive, specifically when you cut out my beautiful Cassian Andor content.
Yeah, no one cares.
No, come
No one
on,
cares
man.
about Cassian Andor, my friend. It's
Oh
okay.
my god.
It's
Oh,
all right.
jeez.
Diego Luna, is that who it is?
Yes, a wonderful, beautiful human being.
Okay. So moving on. Starting off our weekly roundup, Solo Leveling, the popular webtoon, is officially getting an anime adaptation confirmed at Anime Expo 2022 this past week by A1 Productions and Crunchyroll. Have you read any of Solo Leveling?
I have started to read a little bit. I'm not too into it yet. Just a couple of issues or episodes, whatever you want to call it. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, man. As you put me on, shout out to our our other member of Goblin Gang Entertainment, Azu Azalea. Azu put me on to solo leveling, and I enjoyed what I read of it. I'm really weird with webtoons. I'm not afraid to admit it. It's hard for me to like come back to a lot of them, but everything that I've read from it, super super enjoyed. So looking forward to an anime adaptation. Maybe then I'll do like I did with My Hero and just read all of it before the anime actually finishes.
Nice, nice. I think it's very interesting that more and more webtoons are getting to anime level. We did get one with Tower of God, like not so long ago. We might be getting one from Lore Olympus if speculation is to be believed.
I do think
So
I
yeah,
heard about that.
webtoons, bro. Webtoons are really freaking cool.
They're the future of like. I think they're the might. I think just the format in general is the future of like that kind of consumption. I think maybe,
Oh yeah.
maybe. I don't want to. I don't want to speak out of place because I don't partake really, so I don't want to sound out of place. But just my thoughts, just my 2 cents, my 2 pence.
Right, right. Now moving on to the next topic. OG Goblin kind of alluded to this. This is one of the topics that we combined into one. AAA developers are leveling up and starting to get more serious with mobile gaming, as we have gotten two pretty big announcements this week of mobile games. We have a Division free-to-play mobile game, and we have a Destiny mobile game coming out within the next couple of years. And between that, Apex Legends Mobile, Call of Duty Mobile, and Diablo Immortal, for all its faults, does Nintendo have some things to worry about right now?
Nah, I don't think they have
Nah.
anything to worry about, but I do think they need to start playing their cards right and getting some AAA franchises. Nintendo's gonna sell regardless. We know this. We've talked about this so much. But I mean, like, how can AAA devs not want to get in on the action with like the success of Apex Legends Mobile? Like, I don't think anybody expected it to shape up as good as it has. And then, of course, you know, you got Pokemon Unite on mobile as well, with crossplay over on the Switch. I mean, I think it's really just, it makes sense. It's about time AAA developers started taking mobile gaming actually serious.
Now, this doesn't mean that we're not going to get the super scummy monetization that is usually associated with mobile games, but at least the quality is starting to increase.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I think it gives them opportunity to play with other gameplay styles too, or, you know, just kind of stretch their fan base across multiple lanes. Just as an example, Apex Legends, the new champion Rhapsody is exclusive to mobile. So, I mean, if you want to try it out, you know, you kind of have to get Apex Mobile, and then, of course, you know, you have to buy Rhapsody. So, oh no, let the scumminess of microtransactions continue. It will always reach out its ugly, dirty hand. Speaking of ugly, dirty hands, the Draugr climb from the grave for God of War Ragnarok, launching on PS4 and PS5 November 9th, 2022. November is going to start hurting my wallet. I did some math today, and I'm just not excited for November. I don't have time for Azu to stab me in my sleep. I truly don't. But I'm 100% picking up God of War Ragnarok, regardless of whatever other game comes out. I have to play it.
We just talked about it in a video, in a standalone video a couple days ago. But you know what comes out right before God of War Ragnarok on November 8th?
Don't tell me.
Skull and Bones.
Jesus, I hope Ubisoft is ready to not move any units. But like I really hope they're not ready to move any units, man. There's no way PlayStation fanboys are picking.
It's gonna be all the people from Xbox and PC who can't play Ragnarok. They're just gonna like hate purchase Skull and Bones.
Damn it, I don't want to play this game. I want to play God of War, but I can't get a PlayStation. Oh my god. Not to sound elitist or anything, I don't have a PS5. Azu has a PS5. She's the elitist. I just have the PS4, so I'll be playing in low res.
Oh man. Geez.
But an absolute auto buy for the month of November. It definitely should.
Yeah.
November alone, regardless of my excitement for God of War Ragnarok, November alone is just shaping up to be a very, very expensive month for gamers. We get Pokemon Skull and Bones, and God of War all in the same month, and I think there's one other thing potentially, but did you see that collector's edition?
Yes,
Oh,
yes, dude. Oh my
with the
god.
Mjolnir replica. Please take my,
Ooh.
please just take my money. What's the what's it's the not the SpongeBob meme? Just take it. Futurama,
Drama.
take my money. I don't need
Yeah.
it, man. Here, take any of these credit cards. Just max it out. Give me all of the Mjolnirs. I want an army of Mjolnirs. Lead us
You're
to the
gonna
next topic. God damn it.
Well, real quick, you're gonna get the collector's edition just for Azu to play it in front of you, and you just not being able to play.
I'll just be
Um.
running around the living room with Mjolnir like I'm in bed.
Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
god. Jeez. Next topic. Speaking of hate consuming content, I feel like a lot of anime lovers are gonna be hate watching this next show coming out on Netflix. Stranger Things creators are making a live action Death Note series for Netflix.
Couple of things.
Uh-huh.
Couple of things. I think if anybody could potentially do it right, if there's a short list, the Duffer Brothers, 100%.
Oh yeah.
Also,
Oh yeah.
they should have just done it as a series to begin with. There's too much to unpack there to give us one movie.
That movie sucked.
It was bad.
I haven't even watched Death Note the anime, but that movie sucked.
That's how you know when something's bad. When you're not even familiar with the source material and you just know it's trash. Just like Thor: Love and Thunder. But yes, the Duffer Brothers. Yes, Stranger Things. I think they could definitely pull off the tone 100%. They know how to make a serious show. And I think it would be nice to see them make a serious show that doesn't even require any humor. You know? Death Note is not funny. It might be ironically funny sometimes, but it's not funny. So just to see them be able to make a show just that is straight horror or, you know, at least suspense, thriller. I think right now in the landscape of TV, if there's anyone that can do an adaptation of that scale, justice, it would probably be the Duffer Brothers. They knocked Stranger Things season 5 out of the park.
Now, do you think the Duffer Brothers are the TV versions of the Russo brothers?
I just don't think they have enough under their belt for me to claim that all the way to like be able to back that statement. I think with a couple more projects, this being on their belt, 100%. But they definitely have proved that, you know, you give them free reign to do what they want to do, and they'll make you some freaking money. All right, they're making a lot of people money. They're making Metallica money right now. They're making Kate Bush some money right now. All right, everybody's eating off of Stranger Things. Shoot, we might get monetized off talk about it. You never know. Shoot, everybody.
Let's go. I like that.
Is this one me? I forget.
Yes, this one is you, sir.
Yep. All right. I love it. And lastly, to close out the weekly roundup, a new open world Terminator survival game is in development. Do we have wind of who the developers are for that title? Do we have an article?
Let me.
It's okay. I got it right now. I'm already
Nice.
taking care of it. Nacon. Being developed by Nacon. I know that name. I just can't fully think of what else they've made. Don't even worry about it. Already pulled that up too. Blood Bowl 3. That's interesting. Rugby 22. Handball. WRC Racing. Werewolf the Apocalypse. Okay. Okay.
That's. I mean,
no bangers.
Like, hey, Blood Bowl 3 though is shaping up to be pretty good though.
I guess. Maybe. Like, no bangers, but I mean, like, hey, you know, that could. Every developer like is just waiting for their bite, right? Waiting for their bite, the one that puts them on the map. Who knows? This could be it. This could be it.
What game specifically out of that lineup do you think Universal saw and it's like, yep, they're the ones who need to make this game?
Oh, that was an unexpected question. Was not prepared to answer it, and may not have an answer. I don't know. Probably nothing. If I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not gonna beat around the bush. You know, I'm not gonna bullshit. But yeah, nothing really. I mean, I think the only high-profile thing that they've got under their belt right now, just to make sure, I want to make sure I'm quoting this correctly. No, they're just the publishers of that. Nothing. They're publishing the Gollum game, but that's just about it. So I'm not gonna blow their spot up or anything like that. I'm not gonna. I wish them well in their developmental journeys creating this Terminator game, but I do think the premise lends itself to potential success.
Oh yeah.
Whether we're talking about just surviving in that post-apocalyptic world, or if we're talking about maybe a kind of alien hunts you down. I forget the name of that actual the game. Alien
Isolation.
Isolation. Yes, Alien Isolation. Maybe something akin to that as well. With a Terminator would be equally terrifying. Either way, I think the source material lends room for it to be done very well. So hats off to them. I hope they can pull it off. Terminator is a fantastic franchise.
Absolutely. As we get out of this weekly roundup, I have a question to you related to this publisher.
Okay.
Did you see the gameplay for that Gollum game?
Goblin game?
The Gollum game. The Gollum
Oh
game.
no, I did see that it was. I did see that it came out. What, like a couple of days ago?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. What are your thoughts? I feel like you had no. Oh, that's not kosher.
Nah, man. Like it looks so. For the longest time, people were asking, why is there a Gollum game being made?
Yeah.
Maybe it will be good.
Yeah.
I think this gameplay though, kind of put any of those hopes to bed.
Okay.
And dude, it just looks like a very boring stealth game. And it's funny because during the trailer, they had the music swell up when it's literally just Gollum walking around, nothing epic happening, but you hear this really amazing music in the background.
I'm actually watching it right now. Not right now. This is me, the beginning process of me passing away from the Kiwi. I'm watching it right now. I'm not going to share it with the world because that just seems like a lot of work. But yeah, this is not remotely exciting. It also looks like a PS2 game.
Yeah.
Which, graphics aren't, the end-all, be-all of a good game or a bad game. But, in the day and age of ray tracing and all that other good stuff, I think it's important to talk about. This does not look good at all.
I'm worried that between that and the Terminator game that we were just talking about, I'm worried that licensed video games are going to expire very soon.
I'm sorry if I'm in shock right now, if I couldn't immediately respond to what you just said. The trailer just ended on the worst shot that I've ever seen in my entire life. That looked really bad.
Yeah.
Wow. So everything that I said about Terminator, I take it all no. Again, they're just publishing it. I think. They didn't develop develop this game, I think.
Okay. Well, still that does make me concerned about just licensed video games in the current economy that we're in, the video game culture that we're in.
I mean, that's fair.
I mean, like, even going back to a bigger property, Gotham Knights, you and I seem to be in agreement that Gotham Knights looks mid. It looks okay. It looks mediocre. Doesn't excite me at all. And it hurts to say that after being so excited to get more from Rocksteady. And even Rocksteady, I know they're not the ones working on Gotham Knights, but they're working on a games as a service Suicide Squad game that, graphically it looks cool. The premise looks cool, but I'm worried that it's going to be killed by monetization and terrible business practices.
Now, are we talking about the same Suicide Squad game? Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League?
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I didn't know it was a game. I didn't know it was a live service game. I feel like we've talked about this a lot in like the last couple of I feel like we've talked about this a lot in the last couple of episodes. But like I'm just not sold on the live service model. I don't think there's as much there as people hope for it to be. You know what I mean? There's just not enough. And I feel like it's just cash grabby. And if you're into that kind of thing, that's fine. Enjoy what you want to enjoy. But I just feel like that's what everything is becoming.
I we talked about it already. Like, it doesn't have to be every single game being a live service. I feel like certain games suit themselves very, very nicely to a live service game. For example, sports games. There shouldn't be an NBA 2K 23, 24, 25. It should just be NBA 2K, and you get yearly rosters. You can pay for certain things, and you can add features like little by little. That's all you got to do. Same thing goes with Madden. Same thing goes with MLB. Literally any sports game could be applied to this. Now, games like Suicide Squad, you're telling me that you're making the same mistake that Square Enix made with the Avengers, where everyone wants and is craving a good story, but you're just gonna make it this hyper monetized bullshit. I don't. Why, man? That kills my excitement for the game. I'm not gonna sit here and say that I'm not gonna play it. I'm a very naive and optimistic and positive person, so I'm going to be giving Suicide Squad a shot when it comes out. But am I as excited as I would have been if it was a single player game? No, not really.
I haven't been excited for it at all. Even like the gameplay trailer we got during, I forgot when we got that gameplay trailer, but the gameplay trailer was not moving for me at all. It didn't even seem like there was any gameplay in the gameplay trailer, in my opinion. Like, maybe an in-engine trailer might have been a better term for it, but I don't recall the gameplay. Maybe I need to pull that up too and rewatch it.
I think you're right though. It's funny too because the game has been announced for a very long time now, and we're not going to be getting it until maybe next year at the earliest. It's just well, go ahead.
No, I'm just saying that's weird.
It is, and I think it's a new trend that we're seeing where games are being announced before they even start development. Like, for example, the new Splinter Cell game that's coming out. We got an announcement through a tweet saying, "Oh, we're hiring developers for this project. We haven't even started, but we're hiring developers." Why? Why? I miss the days where we would get a trailer and then 3 or 4 months later we would get the game. That's all you need.
I mean, that's the hype engine, right? It's kind of. Oh, okay, I'm seeing the gameplay in the trailer now. If you're looking at me at all and you're like, "What's he looking at?" I'm trying to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. Like, I see the gameplay and it just doesn't move me. But I think that's just kind of like the cyberpunk trend, right? Like, that's what happened with cyberpunk. The hype engine just got rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling, and for all intents and purposes, it actually worked out really well for CD Projekt Red. I think the game went gold. I think it went diamonds or something like that before it launched. It was selling up the wazoo. Like, people were pre-ordering, they were getting really good money on it, which is cool. But then the game came out, and you think we would have learned from that by now, and maybe we have. I'm not really sure what the pre-order numbers on this looks like at all, but developers are obviously going to try to buy into that hype that people, expect from these things, especially these larger properties like Suicide Squad or Gotham Knights. People are going to buy into that hype, and that's just kind of the nature of the beast right now when it comes to gaming.
I guess so, but how long until they keep failing over and over and over, and those type of games just are not made anymore? I feel like that's where the direction is going. Because even with the success of Cyberpunk in terms of its financial success and all that, you would have to assume that some executives out there is like, "Oh, damn, we do not want that blowback."
Oh, yeah, 100%. But I mean, trends in gaming stay for a really, really long time. When did we stop really getting licensed games? I don't know when the Iron Man 2 game came out, or if it predates the Dark Knight, not the Dark Knight, but the Batman Begins video game. Actually, I'm gonna source that right now because those are kind of the last ones that I can think of at the moment, anyway. So the Batman Begins video game came out in 2005. So Iron Man 2 came out in 2010. So, I mean, we didn't really, and that's, there's probably some that came after that, obviously, but just as far as, reference, a point of reference, 2010 is kind of like the last, probably around the last hurrah of the licensed video game, and none of them were ever that good. Like,
No.
and they've been making licensed video games since, honestly, the 70s, the late 70s, or pardon, maybe early 80s, maybe the 70s.
One of the like earliest failures in video games wasn't it the ET game?
Oh my god, the travesty that's the ET game. If you don't know anything about the history of ET the video game, do yourself a service and go watch anything online about the ET, any documentary. There's one on Netflix that covers it very well, and I cannot think of the name of it. Hold on, I'm gonna search it. High Score, I think, is what it's called. There's probably one or two, but High Score covers it very, very well. If you haven't watched it, this is me recommending it on the channel right now. Go check out High Score on Netflix. Just a fantastic documentary on video games, period. But yeah, the Netflix is not the Netflix. Jesus, the ET game is a perfect example of why licensed games were just bad. A lot of them were really bad. Granted, there were some good ones, but you know, some of them are bad. Some of them are really, really bad. But trends take their time to die out in gaming. I think maybe the shortest trend that I can think of immediately was everybody trying to come up with the Halo killer. And I think that ended with Haze. Do you remember Haze at all?
I vaguely remember. Was that made by Ubisoft by any chance?
It was made by Free Radical.
Free Radical.
It was published by Ubisoft.
I see.
Yeah. It was supposed to be. I remember the marketing for that game. Super heavy.
I remember. Isn't it like they used like beeswax or something in order to like that, like super soldiers that use beeswax to supercharge themselves or something like that.
It was called Nectar. So hold on.
Nectar.
The game takes place in a dystopian future where the Mantle Corporation rule the world with a drug called Nova Keto Tyrosine, also called Nectar, a nutrient supplement that enables soldiers to fight harder and smarter, but also induces a hallucinogenic effect where soldiers are no longer cognizant of the real battlefield around them, instead viewing an idyllic, painless environment. And it was bad. It was really bad. Oh my god. Some media sources deemed it a Halo killer, and that just was not the case.
Bro, I feel like media just wants to like crown the next thing before it actually starts popping off, and it almost never works out. But I remember seeing the Haze demo on the PS3 shop. It looked pretty cool, but yeah, no. I'm seeing reviews for this game, and no, that's not it.
No, not at all. Then there were so many Halo killers that came out around that time. Arguably, probably the only one that got close was Killzone 2.
Bruh, you remember that gameplay trailer when they completely lied to us about what it looks like?
Ah, the old smoke and mirrors. Gotta love it. You gotta love it. Like, oh man. Like, Cyberpunk was not the first, and it will not be the last, everybody. Do not get it twisted. I think the biggest one, I think the other two biggest ones might have been Watch Dogs 1.
Yep.
And then I'll go as far as to say Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, no. In terms of graphical quality, absolutely. Oh, yeah. It's funny because both of those are Ubisoft games.
Yeah, no, man. It's such a letdown. Such a letdown. But hey, you know what? Whatever. It is what it is. We move on to a new trend. That's what we do in gaming. So yeah, I don't think I think the live service trend is going to be around for a little bit. I don't think we're there yet.
You're probably right. I feel like if anything, it's not going to be going away. And I think the new trend that might pass that, we've talked a little bit about it on Geeks and Goblins in the past, but Web 3.0 games, NFT games. It seems like a lot of industry veterans are leaving their publishers, their developers. They're making their own indie developers, their indie studios, and they're going into Web 3.0, which is really weird considering that the crypto market and the NFT market has like almost completely crashed. I don't think it's going to stay like that. I'm sure it's going to, start increasing again soon. That being said, though, like we've seen big publishers like Square Enix
Mhm.
talking about how that's the future of video games. And I'm just curious as to what that looks like. And we've seen Ubisoft trying to come out with this quartz thing for their
Oh
Ghost
yeah, I
Recon
remember that.
Blackpoint, where you have a helmet that takes like maybe 12,000 in-game hours to earn, and then you can use that in X Defiant and stuff like that. I don't know, man. I really, what is going on?
Uh, Cash cows. People see money. I was talking about this with a friend a couple of days ago, just like what NFTs are and like what do you really do with them and like what does it mean to have an NFT? Sorry, Kiwi's still trying to kill me. Um, all those things. It's just like we hit the wall where it's just kind of like it's marketing to get people to spend money on useless things. I mean, like that whole idea for me is stupid. Did I buy into it a little bit when it first came out? Yeah, absolutely. But I think the color started to show itself. And in a lot of ways, NFTs were like Bitcoin, right? Like you had to really be there when it started to pop off, when like the entry cost was super low, so that way you could capitalize on it then. If you didn't jump in then, you know, any popular NFT right now is selling for just to jump in. Like you have to be like the 3 figures, the 4 figures to jump in, and
Yep.
low income houses just don't have that disposable income to be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna drop $5,000 on this NFT and it's gonna pop in about 2 or 3 years. Yeah, you can't do that. I need that 5 grand right now, actually.
Yep.
Like today, give it to me. So I don't know, man. I don't know what they're trying to do with it in gaming. I think there's that whole idea of like MMOs, right? There's a popular NFT, a Web3 based game called Big Time. If you look into it, and the whole idea is like your armor and your weapons are all NFTs, and you can equip them to your character, and then of course just like any other MMO, you can buy, sell, trade, X, Y, Z, da 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 da. And I think that's really the only one that I've seen that makes sense for me, because I kind of get that model. We do that anyway with markets and MMOs as it is. It just adds an actual real world value to it, short of your hours spent.
I Yeah, but I mean, up until this point, we haven't really had that with in-game or with real life money, right? It's usually been in-game money.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always been some sort of monetization when it comes to MMOs, but never to that extent.
No, but I do think it's the next step. I don't agree with it, but I just, as far as like what developers and publishers are
Hmm.
going to want to try and do, it's the same thing, man. We have trends that are just coming and going and dying. It's the next step of live service. Like it. Yeezy drops in video games. Like that sounds dystopian as shit to say, but that's what it's going to be like. That's what it is, and it's base, and it's like base term. Oh, I gotta get the new sword drop in WoW. This is probably a really bad example, but I gotta get the new sword drop in WoW. And the whole idea that like you have the first one, yours is the first one that was minted. You have the very first of the sword, and that increases its value. I just think it's an obvious step.
I, yeah, I
I
think
still
you're
think it's a
right.
good step.
I think you're right, mainly because like gamers are already grinding out hours and hours and hours to be the first to get this really cool item. With NFTs, you can just like have that legitimacy. It's kind of like a certificate of authenticity. You know what I'm saying? A certificate of genuineness.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I guess it makes sense that it's the next logical step. It's a little disconcerting, obviously, but the good thing about video games the way it is right now is that we have such a large variety of stuff to play. We have a large variety of studios making content. Uh, a studio that we never even heard of making games like Tunic, for example, and just indie games, even AAA games doing things a little bit more unique, like Guardians of the Galaxy being a complete departure from Avengers. Yeah, I guess that is the logical next step.
Yeah.
But we have to be careful to not let it take over the entire video game industry. We can't let it be the norm, right?
I mean, yeah, but I think it's really only disconcerting for you because like it's now the publishers and the developers getting in on the action, right?
Right.
I think one of the more interesting times I've ever seen something like this, pre NFT, or at least during the rise of NFT. While I was at my last job, one of the players was trying to sell a Rocket League boost color. It was like a gold boost. It was like, apparently it's like super exclusive or something like that. And he was trying to sell it for like $300. Like he's for Rocket League, bro. So I mean, like, but you can't just sell that. You have to sell the account. So, but and that's kind of what I mean. We have been selling accounts now for God knows how long, because this WoW account has this one like super hard to get weapon that no one else was able to get, or like even just to bring it to even more like make it more relatable. People sell Val accounts for Val skins. People sell League accounts for League skins. This isn't new, and we've always had markets in MMOs. Now it just it becomes more tangible. It becomes an actual like real thing that you can invest your time in. So I guess I can't say I'm fully opposed to it, because it's been happening. It's just now the developers and the publishers jump into the pool now, and they make it more of an official thing. Like, hey, this skin's dope. Everybody loves this skin. How would you like to be the owner of the skin? Just you. And like the cost is there, right? Like skins aren't cheap. If you do like any research on what it costs to like actually have a team develop a skin for either a character or a weapon or something like that, that's man hours that you have to put into that, and then the marketing, and then getting it into the game. Like, you can put a value on that stuff real quick, like super easy.
That's true. And I feel like I guess we can't really be surprised, right? Because going back to examples, I feel like the prime example of what NFT and video games look like is Team Fortress 2 with the trading system that Steam has. I remember a friend of mine, he was able to purchase a sniper rifle for $300 or $400, something like that. So I guess, like, in a way, NFTs or Web 3.0 mentality has always been in video games. So I think you're right on that.
Yeah. Money is weird when it comes to gaming, man. I was talking with one of our coworkers earlier, and they were discussing how the Smite World Championship, is going to be they're not doing a LAN, essentially, like a big blown out LAN. They're doing like $100,000. But sorry, let me rephrase that whole sentence because it was coming off bad. They're not doing an in-person LAN for the Smite World Championships, but they have recently, or at least are throwing $100,000 tournament for streamers right now. Money is so weird, right? Because that's good. That's marketing in a lot of ways. You drop $100,000 for this tournament with these big name streamers, and they go at it. They go to town, and you get high viewer count. You watch these guys play, and people. It's kind of weird how cogs work, how cogs turn in people's head, not necessarily just gamers, but people, right? So I mean, like, you see Ninja. Yeah, okay, let's go with Ninja. You see Ninja, actually even better, for anyone that's listening, so that you can relate. This is actually happening right now. It probably just finished up, but Mr. Beast versus Ninja right now just happened on Crown's Twitch channel for League of Legends. Big thing. Mr. Beast calls out Ninja for a tournament. They both get like this team of streamers together. And to bring that conversation full circle to what we're talking about now, some kid sees Ninja beat Mr. Beast playing Yasuo, and now this kid who's in love with Ninja is like, wants to invest all his time in playing Yasuo. He's gonna download League of Legends right now, and he's like, Mr. Beast is my favorite. Not Mr. Beast. Ninja is my favorite. I'm gonna play Yasuo. Oh, I want to get all the skins because Ninja has the skins. What skin is Ninja using? Like, and then that like just blows up from there. Well, oh, Mr. Beast was really good while he was playing Tryndamere, so I gotta get Tryndamere too. And now you're buying all these Riot points so you can get skins for Tryndamere, and so you can get them for for Yasuo, and it's crazy, and that's how that machine works, right? Like that $100,000 comes back like tenfold. But just like even with conversation how we've talked about E3, you know, you have to spend millions of dollars to get something like that off the ground, and is the return there?
I mean, if we go based off the last 2 years, the ESA would say no, there is no return.
Yeah.
Um, that being said, though, have you heard the plans for next year's E3?
I do know that it's being run by the people who do PAX.
Yeah, PAX. I think Gamescom also.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like they're turning it more into a convention instead of just a standard trade show.
Oh, um, yes, I am caught up on that. I dig it, kind of, as long as like. So first off, we're going, but I dig it. I dig it, but like it's kind of hard to like fully dig it because are we still gonna get are we still gonna get conferences? Are we still gonna get like Microsoft and Sony doing their thing? Because if not, like let's just call it a video game convention and move on.
I feel like if anything, it's just going to turn into the video game San Diego Comic-Con. I mean, that's what it's. That's what I think E3 has always been in the mind of gamers. But like operations wise, it hasn't been like that. It's been a regular trade show where it's more so about these companies essentially unveiling new technologies, unveiling new products, new video games, properties, stuff like that. But like, what if we end up getting like a new legendary venue the way that Hall H is for SDCC? What if we get that for video games? And I mean, yes, you're right. We are going to be going as Geeks and Goblins. That's going to be amazing.
Has to happen. 100.
But I don't know, man. I feel like it's exciting news. It really is. I think making it more of a convention that is based on fan engagement will make it stronger than, say, something like Summer Games Fest that is digital only. You know?
Yeah. No, I'm not opposed to the idea. I think it's really cool. I wonder where it fits in the world, because we have PAX, which is already Penny Arcade. So I mean, like that's already the whole idea. Indie games kind of flourish there, and then there's Gamescom, which isn't necessarily a convention, but you could say it's kind of like a convention. So I mean, like I just hope that E3 could find its legs in a convention space, right? I can see it being difficult. So I mean, like this is what separates a regular convention from something like that would be massive like that, right? So I mean, let's talk Animazement in Raleigh, just as an example. I don't want to go too big because I don't know the prices on that, but like Animazement, a table at Animazement to sell your wares, or I guess to have your booth, so to speak, would be about like maybe $300-$400 to have your table. And then of course, the only thing that you're losing out on, or have to gain is, your time. If you're, if it's your booth, that's your time to have at that booth. Hopefully you sell enough stuff to, offset the cost of running the booth. A lot of people run back catalog stuff, so they bring the stuff that they can afford to like lose a little bit on. And then, hopefully draw attention to them so that they can increase profit later. It's a whole thing. But we're also at this point then we would be talking about developers sending out marketing teams. So you've got to get marketing material together to secure space at the venue, which wherever the venue is, and depending on whoever's throwing the event, could end up being really expensive for an indie. And then you've also got to pay the labor for sending your people to market the game, run your booth. It could get really expensive, especially if they don't find their right niche. PAX already does the whole indie thing. So anybody that already did PAX, working with the same, event company, they're going to say, why would I spend another 15,000-20,000 to send out for this indie game that we're trying to already make money on? Why would I spend another of that to go to E3? Unless it's going to be profitable for me, and I have a sight for that profit,
Isn't that where like a convention format would mean that E3 is more likely to turn a profit than the way it used to be?
I think
Where
so.
right, you have more people with merchandise, you have costumes, I think a convention lends itself much more to a money making format than a trade show, right?
I would think so. I just think whoever showed up would have to like play their cards right. You know, I just think of like traditional con stuff. So I mean, like, of course, if there's an artist alley, will there be an artist alley so that you're seeing like your regular Joe Schmo sell some stuff, and then is there like the regular convention floor where you have actual developers on the floor, giving out keys and handing out merch and stuff like that, trying to sell the game. I would just, again, I'd hope that they could find the right footing in between like the big developers and the little guys. Otherwise, I see the draw being there from the public. I'm not sure it would be profitable for developers.
Do you think that just with this change and with what we know so far about the changes to E3, you think it's enough to get the likes of Sony to come back?
Not if there's no profit. I think what it was the last like major E3 we found out that they were dropping out of the next one anyway. They and I wanted to say that was like what 2018 or 2019 was the last major one. Let's go 19 just for COVID's sake. I think if I remember correctly, Sony was already going to pull out for 19, regardless of COVID, either way. And I think at that point, Nintendo was already doing their own thing by doing their tree houses and their directs during E3. So Nintendo already wasn't in the house. The only people that were really trying to capitalize on the whole thing was Microsoft, and that makes a lot of sense though, right? Because Microsoft, out of the three, probably pulls in the most revenue. Like Microsoft has money.
Plus, they have their own Microsoft theater there, so they don't necessarily have to be spending a crap ton of money on the venue.
Exactly, and if you look at like all the stops that Sony pulled for, just as an example, the God of War show, like. They drop so much money into it. Like we've got an amazing show from Ghost of Tsushima, which was probably like on a lower scale considering it was just the one guy. But the God of War thing, you got to pay a whole orchestra for that, man, and that's expensive. People, first chairs. You get into that starts to go up as well. You're paying for the venue, you're paying for the production team to put on this production, you're paying for your marketing people to go out there. I see why Sony dropped out. Sony is kind of like in that position where they're gonna make money regardless. They don't need to be at E3. They could, and I think that's kind of why they've gone the state of play route. People are gonna buy. I'm not gonna not buy God of War Ragnarok just because they didn't show it off at E3. It just helps to build that hype. But back to what we talked about earlier, we're in a generation in gaming where hype just is kind of organic all the time.
Yeah, especially with social media and influencers, content creators.
Yeah.
There's always going to be that discussion anyways. You don't necessarily have to make the case for it anymore.
Yeah. Like just even with what we do, I mean, there's so much potential in saying like, oh, these guys, they get 10,000 concurrent viewers every time they stream. That's what I pay them X amount of dollars or make them a partner, send them some free stuff from time to time, give us some keys, and every time they go on stream, halfway through their stream, they have a deliverable. Hey guys, have you heard about Rosie gaming chairs? Like, these chairs are super comfy, my butt feels great. Like, absolutely love Rosie gaming chairs. There's a special going on right now, and if you use my discount code, you get 20% off. It's cheap ass marketing. Why spend $300,000 why spend $300,000 at a con or a trade show when I can give these guys $5,000 in each gaming chair, and every time they get on screen they can say, buy the Rosie gaming chair and use my discount.
I'm sold.
There you go.
And I think we have a little cameo going on over here.
We do. I think it was the pitch, really. Like that was Mochi. I always figured that.
Yes, that was
like,
Mochi.
I need that a Rosie gaming chair. He said he had a comfy butt. Like, I need that in my life.
Well, hi Mochi, how's it going? Listen, I must kick you out. Give me 1 second.
No, you're good. Take your time. I'm going to regale the audience quickly while Utopian Revolt takes his absence. I remember specifically one time when I was a wee lad, My favorite gaming memory, I think, was the day after Christmas, 2006. I want to say it was the day after Christmas. I just got my Christmas moolah, and my good old steppapa, who I no longer talk with, really, good old steppapa. I went to him and I said, "Take me to GameStop, fake father." And he took me to GameStop, and I got myself a copy. I say a copy, but it was really just a bundle. The Rock Band 1 bundle. OMG. My God, I remember how happy I was that summer. My good friend Hawk, and yes, his name was Hawk. Tyler Hawk, and that's all I'm going to say. I probably shouldn't even said that much, honestly. But my good friend Hawk, we spent the entire summer playing and 100%ing the first Rock Band bundle, and it is a summer that I just will not ever forget, because it's
Nice.
for me, that was like a time in my life where gaming was like innocent and perfect, and it was the getaway, it was everything. I didn't want to do anything else that summer besides either go to Hawk's house or Hawk come over to my house, and we plug in all the peripherals that we could, maybe invite another friend over so they could get on the base, and we just go for hours on Rock Band. That world tour game mode, like getting our characters pimped out, like, dude, it's a summer that I will never forget, and it defines what gaming is for me. That's
Man, listen, Rock Band 1 also like low key had the best soundtrack.
bro. I played it pretty much all day back in at work today. I just something came over me, and I could not stop. I could not stop. It's such a good game. Now
Yeah.
that's a trend that died out. If we're talking about like gaming trends, like rhythm games.
Oh, and they tried to make it a live service, right? We had Guitar Hero Live.
Yep.
I forgot what the Rock Band alternative was, but they were trying to make it so it's just this thing you stream on your TV with like casting or stuff like that. That didn't work
Yeah.
out. But yeah, I remember that. And what happened to remember what was that early iOS iPod Touch game that was super popular? Tap Tap Revenge. You remember that
Tap
one?
Tap Revenge. Thank you. I've been trying to remember the name of that for days. Like, and I'm not even kidding. I'm not even joking.
I think it's been delisted though. I think a couple years ago because of music licensing, they didn't
Yeah.
have it on the App Store anymore. And I remember everyone in school always playing that game.
Oh
Yeah,
God.
a simpler time.
I was a Tap Tap Revenge nut. Like, just give me Tap Tap Revenge, man. I
Didn't it?
wanted to be a rock band, not a rock band kid, a DDR kid so bad, but I just did not have the coordination.
Oh, didn't Tap Tap Revenge have a competitive multiplayer mode also?
It may have. I
What?
truly don't remember. It's so funny. I don't even know why it was on my mind recently. I think just because I've been like looking at mobile games, but like I couldn't tell you anything about it right now. I had like absolutely zero about it.
Speaking of mobile games, you were telling me like around a week and a half ago that you've been trying to get into this light, right?
Yeah, I even like popped it open a couple of days ago. I just think I don't know. Maybe it's pay to win. Maybe Dislight's like super pay to win. I don't want to say that and like potentially ruin any future sponsorships. So we're gonna delete this whole segment. But like I just don't know why I can't. I'm having such a hard time. I've played so many other mobile games like that where it's like, you know, you unlock champions, and you there's the whole like back system where you can upgrade them and you can attach stuff. I played so many like that, dude, and I get so much further in the story, and I'm so stuck in Dislight. It hurts. I don't know if it wants me to spend money. Look, I know it wants me to spend money, but like I just don't feel like I can get to where I want to in the game without spending the money, and I hate it. But did you bring up Dislike to mention the kind of tap tap revenge portion of the game that's in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that's why you brought it up. I went on a whole thing. I apologize. We're gonna delete this whole section of the stream, but yeah. That's probably why it came to mind, because I jumped into Dislike a couple of days ago and finally found that section of the game.
Nice. Now, have you been enjoying that section of the game?
Nope, played it once, hated it.
Oh my god! I feel like a lot of these mobile games are starting to introduce like weird mini games that have nothing to do with the rest of the game, just to keep their players like attention span. It's weird, man. We live in a weird time, especially with mobile games. You know what was also very weird? OG Goblin.
What's that?
Ms.Marvel episode 5.
I'm gonna be
Oh,
transparent because I don't want to lie to anybody. I don't want anyone to sit here and be like, "Oh, that guy OG Goblins be bullshitting every time he be like." No, like I've got to be transparent before we get into this because you're gonna lead the path. I fell asleep on it. I fell asleep on it. Like maybe the second day it was out. What, it comes out on Wednesdays, right?
yeah.
I fell asleep on it 2 days ago. All right. I'm sorry. Aman Vellani. I'm sorry, Kevin Feige. I'm sorry, Cass. But this episode was like, maybe I was just tired. I don't know. But this episode just put my ASS to SLEEP. I just could not. I took a nap, bro, and I woke up.
Yeah. This guy fell asleep 2 days ago and still has not watched it. OG Goblin, this is your job, bro.
I know. I spent so much of today telling people like, oh my god, I have to watch things. It's my job. Like Thor: Love and Thunder, I have to have seen it. Like by the time the stream comes and all this other, I have to consume this material. And here I am. To be fair, I was trying.
Oh my god. Listen, I'm gonna start off by saying, contrary to what you were just saying, although I have been hearing a very similar sentiment, I feel like I've been hearing a lot of people saying that this is the episode where they've made up their mind that this is not a good show, or it's not the show for them. I personally really liked the episode, and I give it 4 out of 5 geeks. I thought it was decent enough. I am a sucker for a good romance story. I also really love history, and seeing a little bit of a blend of both of those, and then right there in the middle of the episode transitioning back to the Ms.Marvel that we know and love, or I guess know and tolerate, or know and don't like, whatever. Transition back to that was really cool. Gave me kind of like weird Assassin's Creed vibes when the modern day segments actually mattered. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I could see why I put you to sleep. It very much was the slowest episode so far. I feel like it's really weird to follow up last episode that was like pure action, chase sequence after chase sequence, people dying left and right, with this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So let's be clear. Let me clear the air really quick before the chat potentially like someone decide the one lurker is like, I knew he was alive. Like I didn't like fall asleep because I was bored. I was definitely tired. When I decided to watch it. And I told myself because we were getting off early, I was gonna watch it today, but life happens. I got as far as Najima coming and finding her great grandmother and being like, "Hey, like we've got to do this. Like, stop effing about." I think that's as far as I got. I know that was like nowhere. I woke up right when the gas station blew up, or the bodega blew up. If it's not even really a bodega, but when the little shop blew up, I woke up there, and that's literally the end of the episode. So from what I saw, because I can only talk about what I saw, just to be fair. I if there's anything I've enjoyed about Ms.Marvel as a whole, it's their dedication to showing culture. Their dedication to kind of the history of that time in the world for India and Pakistan. I enjoy that so much, and I commend Marvel for even like putting the foot in the door. There's a lot of contention right now on social media with a lot of the elements, but of a lot of the elements from like either a Pakistani standpoint or an Indian standpoint or a Muslim standpoint, just certain things that should or shouldn't be in there, or would or wouldn't be in there, and a lot of people draw there's discourse about how the entire writing room wasn't like a Muslim writing room, and I can't really speak to that too much. I've always been of the mind of like pick who's best for the job. The last thing that I feel like any company would do is put untested people in certain positions. So I don't know if I completely agree with that, but I do think people that need to be in that writing room need to have an appreciation and understanding of the culture. And from what I understand, it does that very, very well.
You're talking about like putting untested people into big positions, whereas we opened up the episode talking about this unproven studio making a open world Terminator survival game. I just wanted to point out the irony in that. But yes, I mean, I think, listen, people do have a point when they bring that up, because a lot of these corporations have kind of shown that they're sometimes too willing to test out new faces, whether it's a director, an actor, a developer, whatever. But yeah, I mean, this episode was good. I liked that it was slow. I liked that it showed a lot of culture. Listen, I'm a big Tarantino fan, and those movies are slow as molasses. They drag on, especially The Hateful Eight, but they do so for a good reason. It builds up the tension. It builds up the story without necessarily putting it right into your face. And I feel like this episode did somewhat of a similar job with Kamala's family. There's certain parts of it that I didn't really understand. Like, I'm reading this recap, and I think this recap is confused because they're talking about how at the end of the episode, Kamala is actually her grandmother and also her great grandmother, but like that doesn't add up. If you actually watch the episode, you would know that her great grandmother Aisha basically was sacrificing herself so Kamala's grandmother could leave India peacefully. And I don't know, it's weird. We got a lot of weird time travel mechanics in this episode, something I didn't really expect. But yeah, I mean, listen, I know you fell asleep, but do you know how it ended? Do you know how this episode ended?
Yes. So, to my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Sure.
It seems like we're kind of getting closer and closer to some form of Inhumans, Terrigen Mist kind of thing. I know that the clandestine, I don't know where the gas came from, but I know they all tried to, like, go back. They finally got their portal open. They all tried to go back, but they all disintegrated. And died, which, haha, you've been trying to do this for years and then you just died. But, so, and for me, that's exciting because, that screams the Terrigen Mist. That screams, the Inhumans. And I know Kamran got his powers as well. I think we might have gotten maybe a misdirect or a redirect for this entire series. A big gripe that people have had is, they don't, there's no Inhumans connection. She doesn't have her original powers. I don't know if I can say this with confidence, but I am going to throw the theory out there that we're going to end Ms.Marvel with more Inhuman connection than we first thought, and hopefully with her original powers. They've already alluded to the fact that, there's been power in her already, and the bangle more so encompasses and like helps her like release that power in a way. So without it there and her still having that power, maybe we lose the whole like throwing steps thing and throwing all these platforms. But what if we still get her as an Inhuman and get those regular Kamala Khan powers? I think that's where my theory is gonna lie, and that's really all I can say about the episode.
I think.
No, go ahead.
So I think that this episode was the finale of the Ms.Marvel part of this show.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the next episode is going to be essentially the connection to the grander MCU. Whether it's the Inhumans, whether it's something else, I feel like this last episode, the finale of Ms. Marvel, is going to be the next steps for the MCU as a whole. I think the main villain for this very last episode will be the Department of Damage Control.
Okay.
We did see, like you mentioned, Kamran did get powers, mainly because Najma, the leader of the clandestines, she was about to walk into the portal, and Kamala looks at her and pleads, "Hey, listen, you took Aisha away from her family. You're about to do the same thing to your son, Kamran." And then Najma says, "I've already left him behind." And then Kamala keeps trying to make the case that you are leaving your son behind. You are going to leave him without love. Do not do this. And then Najma's like, in the most anticlimactic twist ever, Najma's like, "Oh, you're right. I'm going to close this veil." So she sacrifices herself. And as she's dying, she says Kamran. And then her powers get transferred over to Kamran. And then we see Kamran just appear behind the dumpster to surprise the fuck out of Bruno. And he's like, "Hey, Brian." And Bruno's like, "Oh my freaking God, what the hell is going on?" And then Kamran's like, "I have nowhere else to turn. I need a place to stay. Please help me out." So Bruno brings Kamran back up to his apartment, and they just start talking, and they reintroduce each other. And Kamran's like, "Hi, I am Kamran." And then Bruno's like, "Hey, yeah, so my name is actually Bruno." And then Kamran's like, "Oh, crap, I genuinely thought you were Brian this whole time." It was supposed to be a funny moment. I didn't really think it was very humorous. It was just, I don't know. The entire ending was a little weird. But then the episode ends off with a drone, probably and more than likely a drone belonging to the Department of Damage Control, ringing an alarm because it spotted Kamran, who has powers. Then freaking Kamran just punches the hell out of it with his powers, and Bruno's like, "You have powers?" Not even half a second after that, the episode ends. The episode just ends right after. So for that reason, I feel like we're gonna be getting a much grander scale last episode. I feel like people who have not enjoyed the show at all are probably gonna be able to skip episode 1 through 5 and probably just watch episode 6 to know what's gonna be important going forward.
That's just not a good thing, man. Like, that's not okay. And I hate how far it's fallen for us as far as reception goes, because we started all the way up here with Ms. Marvel, and it just seems like it's slowly but surely just crept down, way down. And I hate that for the MCU. I hate that for Ms. Marvel, because I was really enjoying it, but I'm not gonna count it out. I'm not gonna count it out, man. Like, I want this last episode to be good, but it's just telling for me going into anything else that we can do with the MCU. And I think that's a really good segue into like the last 15 minutes of the show here. I think it's a really good segue to get into Thor: Love and Thunder and our spoiler-free review, as you still have not seen the film.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Let me start off by saying this. My opinion has changed back and forth since I saw the film initially. Other reviewers have kind of given me a little bit more insight, just kind of listening into what they have to say about it, whether it be positive or whether it be negative. And, after about a couple of days of coming back and forth between this, I can comfortably sit here and say that it is definitely my least favorite Marvel movie, and not a movie I see myself ever returning to watch. This is not a review built off of what anybody else has had to say. For anyone who doesn't know, I caught a screening of the film. I was lucky enough to get a screening to see it. So I did see it a day before its release. I am not I was not paid to see it. I was not offered it for free. I found it on my own. This is not a this is not a biased review of any way. I'm an MCU fan. Some would say an MCU stan. I go and see all these movies the day of. Love it. Love the property. Love the comics. 100% will never see this movie again.
Damn. All right. Listen. So I guess it would help if you put a score to it. So out of 5, how many geeks do you give this? 1?
Solid 1.
1.
Solid 1.
Oh, okay. Huh. Interesting. So what would you give Thor Ragnarok? Okay. If it helps the audience and myself,
okay,
I would like you to go and retroactively rate Thor the Dark World, Thor Ragnarok as well.
Fuck. Thor gets a 4. Thor the Dark World gets a 2. Thor Ragnarok gets a 3. And then Thor Love and Thunder gets the 1.
Damn. Okay.
Hopefully the 5th movie we can get a 5.
Yeah, hopefully.
So I think maybe the best way to approach this, let's do this a little different than I feel like most people do. You lead this conversation and I will respond.
Sure. What you we're just about Thor?
Just about the movie. Just about the movie.
Okay, I see. So you want me to ask you a couple of questions?
Sure. Yeah, let's do it that way, just so we can have some structure here. So I'm not just rambling about how much I hate the movie.
So who was the best character in the movie?
Honestly, it's a toss-up for me between Jane and Gore.
Okay.
Probably leaning more towards Gore, if I'm being completely honest. Christian Bale knocks it out of the park. It's a shame that his runtime is very little. That's not a spoiler at all. Any review that you see so far, the non-spoiler ones, they'll tell you he doesn't have a lot of screen time. But I think for what he's there for, he absolutely knocks it out of the park. I just wish I could have seen more of him. You know, he takes the role very, very. You feel the character's, drive and desire, and I think that's something that Christian Bale has always done a good job of. Whether we're talking about American Psycho or whether we're talking about his portrayal as Bruce Wayne in the Dark Knight franchise, he knows how to take a character and make it his own and really drive it home, and he did that in stride here. I'd love to see what was left on the cutting room floor of his performance.
Which is funny because we've heard Taika Waititi ever since the movie has come out and premiered saying that the writer's cuts are a bad thing, which I vehemently disagree with. But that leads me to my next question. Mr. OG Goblin, how many post-credit scenes?
There are 2. There are 2 post-credit scenes. If I had to rate the post-credit scenes individually, the first post-credit scene, I give a solid 3 out of 5.
Okay.
I like the post-credit scene more than I like the movie. The last post-credit scene, as most Marvel ones tend to be nowadays, it's kind of the throwaway scene. That's something we're familiar with now with the two, like, just like with Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, it was Bruce Campbell, punching himself. So, I mean, we're familiar with the style here and the format, so I give the second one. Yeah, you know what? I'll give it a 3.5 out of 5. Actually, I'll
okay.
Give it 3.5 out of 5.
All right. So, without spoiling, Mr. OG Goblin, what are the implications for the MCU as a whole going forward?
Watch the movie.
Watch the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all you got to say.
I don't want to get anybody's hopes up or down about that, because that means I feel like if I talk about that in depth, I can really either sway people from wanting to see it or or not seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll rephrase the question then.
Okay.
Out of these 2 options, is it more of a standalone movie or is it more of an MCU movie?
Definitely more of a standalone.
Okay.
Definitely more of a standalone. So, okay, I guess I can say this much, right? you can tell. Actually, I'll start with this. Taika Waititi and Chris Hemsworth have both come out and said that there's at least 4 hours of movie that's not in the movie, and most of it is just comedy. And they said it wasn't, and most of it's really not even any good. That's all you need to know about Thor: Love and Thunder. Go into it not as an MCU fan. I know that sounds really cryptic. Like, go into it just not as an MCU fan. It is a standalone film. I can say that much. It takes its own pace and its own time. Obviously, there are connecting characters, all that stuff. It's a Marvel affair. You already know what you're getting into, but go into it just viewing it as a movie. Kind of try to think maybe phase 1 or phase 2, just viewing another movie. And I really do think it might. I think it might temper your expectations and like maybe how you feel about the film. I wish I had gone into it like that. I think that's kind of the curse of the MCU right now, especially in Phase 4. We're looking for how everything ties together. You know, Shang-Chi tied together as far as the greater MCU. We see Captain Marvel and we see Hulk at the end, or Bruce Banner at the end, and we know that the 10 rings are calling out to something. And of course, the 10 rings in themselves are all throughout the MCU. And the Eternals, we know how that fits into everything as well. We see what it builds up to in those end credit scenes. We see how the Eternals fit into the greater MCU. And then we get a little bit further down the line, right? Like, No Way Home is, in a lot of ways, a setup for Multiverse of Madness, even though it was supposed to come out after, which I think also creates some like tracking problems there. Multiverse of Madness was not at all what a lot of us expected, and we don't exactly know where it's going to lead us. And I think we're here at that place again with Thor Ragnarok, where it's standalone, and all of that just is, it makes it so hard to fit into the idea that we already expect the next big thing, and we've yet to get that. So I think it's just a little weirdly placed.
I see.
But definitely go into it expecting just a movie. That would be my advice to people. And you shouldn't have to really give advice before people go and see a movie. But if you go into this expecting the next big MCU thing, I think you will leave just as disappointed as I was.
I guess I have one last question with a follow-up question.
Okay.
Is Phase 4 the worst phase of the MCU so far?
Hold on. Iron Man 3, Thor: The Dark World, Captain America: The Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Age of Ultron, Ant-Man. I would much rather watch all of Phase 2.
Winter Soldier by itself.
Yep. Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Homecoming, Ragnarok, Black Panther, Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Captain Marvel, Endgame, Spider-Man, Far From Home. Would 100% rather watch Phase 3. 100% rather watch Phase 1. Phase 4. Black Widow is a miss. Shang-Chi is a hit. Eternals is polarizing, but I loved it. No Way Home, hit. Multiverse of Madness, hit. Thor: Love and Thunder, pardon. Worst movie out of all four phases. We're getting Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. That could be hit or miss. Quantumania, hit or miss. Guardians of the Galaxy, Volume 3, hit or miss. The Marvels, also potentially hit or miss. And Fantastic Four. That's what we have to look forward to. Phase 4 for me right now is Shang-Chi, Eternals, No Way Home, Doctor Strange, and all the TV shows. And yeah, I do think Phase 4 is a little bit of a letdown, but I don't think it's the worst. Especially if we're talking about the entirety of the phase, because if we're talking about that, we have to include the television shows, right?
Right, that is a good point.
Slapped. Falcon and Winter Soldier, slapped. Loki, slapped. What If, hated it. Hawkeye, slapped. Moon Knight, slapped. Ms.Marvel will really see towards the end. Like, and that's just, honestly, that is literally just half of the TV shows that are supposed to be encompassing this phase. So, no, I'm not going to say that Phase 4 is the worst, but Thor Love and Thunder is.
And I guess the follow-up question I was mentioning, the very last question of the show before we have to head off, thumbs up or thumbs down in terms of your excitement for the future of the MCU?
Can I go in the middle?
Nah, I'm not gonna make it that easy for you.
Oh, I don't like you right now. I gotta tell you, I'm really excited for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, given all the most recent Namor stuff. I'm really excited for Quantum Mania because I'm really hoping Kang is like, you know, the villain. I'm super excited to see what they can do with Fantastic Four. Ironheart, Armor Wars, Secret Invasion, potential Secret Wars. I'm sure Doctor Doom will be more of a Phase 5, but we won't know until it happens. I gotta give it a thumbs down.
Ooh, you heard it here.
I don't know, man. I think maybe it would be okay if we took a little bit of a hiatus from the movies. You know, I think the shows are okay. Shows are supposed to be like seasonal things. You know, there's pilot season. You get your first episode in, see what gets picked up, and then you go from there. I think that's kind of the regulation that Marvel is missing a little bit. They can just greenlight whatever they want to greenlight. You know, they get whatever they want to get. I feel like, and I could be wrong about this, but I even feel like Kevin Feige has kind of stepped back a little bit and just not had his iron grip over this phase like he has over the last couple of years. I really feel like he kind of just let Taika Waititi do whatever he wanted to do on Thor: Love and Thunder, and I think that's the miss. You know, I'm all for new directors and new visions coming into the MCU and doing, you know, bringing their stuff to the table, you know? I always forget her name. Chloe Zhao, what she brought to the Eternals was this grand sense of scale and I think this sense of majesty. And she absolutely knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. Spider-Man No Way Home. The same director that's been knocking it out of the park, John Watts, brings his own flavor to Spider-Man. But, you know, I feel like all that stuff is still reined in. Ryan Coogler brings his own flair to Black Panther. Sam Raimi 100% brought his own flair to Multiverse of Madness, dude. But I feel like all of this made them all too comfortable, and Taika Waititi just had the opportunity to just take everything from Thor: Love and Thunder and just like run to the hills with it. And I think it honestly did a disservice. The first half of the movie, in my opinion, is completely unbearable. The pacing is terrible. The good majority of the jokes land flat for me. It's not until the second half of the movie where after they leave a certain place where I think the film starts to tighten up a little bit. But even then, I think it falls short to some really bad jokes. Not enough redeemable cast moments, and I think not enough respect for the source material of the character of Thor. So yeah, for that, I give it a 1. It's not redeemable to me in any way. And that's where I stand on Thor: Love and Thunder, man. I wish I could have liked it more. I was really excited for it, but I just wish I could have liked it more.
You know, they've taken that hiatus with Star Wars. We're not going to be getting a Star Wars movie until
yeah,
we're not getting a Star Wars movie until the Taika Waititi Star Wars movie.
Yeah, God have mercy on all of our souls. I feel bad for anyone that is a Star Wars fan and hates Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know what this man is going to do to Star Wars, and I'm so afraid of that. I'm so afraid of it. Do I think Star Wars could actually use a little bit of levity? Yes. Yes. But not as much as you get in Thor: Love and Thunder. nowhere near as much levity as you get in Thor: Love and Thunder. I don't know what the hell that movie was. Oh, a comedy. It's a comedy. Go expecting to laugh, or at least hoping to laugh. There was a moment in the first half of the movie where me and Azu looked each other in the face, and I said to her, "Do you find any of this funny?" And we're both just... that was the funniest thing that happened to us, actually. We both relating that none of it was funny. There are two funny elements to that whole movie, and that's it.
Sheesh. Okay.
Hope you all liked that.
Well, that's one way of ending an episode with the biggest Marvel fanboy I know, giving the most recent blockbuster movie a 1 out of 5. God help us all. I don't really know what else to say other than like, OG Goblin, where can we find you, Nick?
You can find me right here on Goblin Gang Entertainment. I'll be live tomorrow playing The Cycle. And yeah, you'll never catch me talking about Thor: Love and Thunder ever again.
But Morbius,
I'd rather watch Morbius.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Yo, that's crazy.
I don't know. You know what? I'll do it. I'll do it for science. I'm going to go and watch Morbius.
Marvel.
Just so I can see what's better. Actually better.
Marvel, do you see what you've done to this man?
I'm sorry.
Oh, jeez. Guys, Goblin Gang, Revolutionaries. You can find me on Monday. I don't know what I'm playing yet, but it's going to be good. And then you can also catch me on Friday. I don't know what I'm going to be playing yet, but it's going to be good. And then you can also catch me on Saturday. We're going to be doing another episode of Geeks and Goblins. This format seems to be working pretty well. I think it just lends itself to a lot more natural discussion, which I think is the crux of the show anyways. But yeah, it's Morbin time and less Thor time.
I'm gonna say this before we get off. I'm sorry. It's just stuck on my mind now. It's not so much that it's a bad MCU movie. It's just a bad movie.
Oh, that's even worse somehow. It's like your parents saying, "I'm not mad. I'm disappointed."
Just disappointed. That's how I feel about Thor: Love and Thunder. I'm gonna watch it. By the time we get back to Geeks and Goblins next Saturday, I'll have seen Morbius.
You know what? Throw that into the Discord. We'll do a Morbius watch party.
Okay. I'm not excited about it, just for the record. I feel like now we have to.
The funniest thing is if next Saturday we all come on Geeks and Goblins, he's talking about how Morbius is an underrated movie. I'm already expecting it.
That shit's not happening. All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Geeks and Goblins. I've been OG Goblin. That guy over there. Oh, right when I finally think I got the point right, I pointed to my couch. Right when I think I finally got it. There we go. That guy over there is Utopian Revolt. You can catch us right here on Goblin Gang Entertainment on the YouTube. Go find us on the Twitter. Go find us on the TikTok. We're not on Instagram, so don't go look for us there. But you can find us in places. All you got to do is look. All you got to do is look deep inside, in your heart. That's where you'll find us. Good night, and don't go see Thor: Love and Thunder.